Hi! In this tutorial, I'm gonna show you how to draw an iris, step by step, in real time, so you could draw with me. So let's get started. I'm gonna create a new layer, make a circle, I'm tapping it and holding shift to make a perfect circle, filling it with color. Again, selecting this selection tool and tapping it anywhere I want to deselect. Now I go filter, blur, Gaussian blur to blur the edge of the iris a little bit because I want this beautiful gradient. Okay, I'm gonna press the control key and tap here, create a new layer, take the black color and draw inside this area, or you can just fill it. Any way will do. And I'm gonna deselect this area by selecting the selection tool and tap it anywhere. And edit, free transform, pressing and holding shift and alt together, and I'm making the circle smaller. Probably something like this. Perfect. Now we have two layers, one red below this small black circle. Let's move to the next step. I'm pressing and holding control key, tapping right here on the layer, creating a new group, and I'm putting a mask on it, this key right here. Bam. And I'm dragging this layer inside this group. Now this layer inside this group, and if I create a new layer, select a brush and try to draw outside of the mask area, it's gonna be hidden. We can draw only inside our eye. And that's perfect. We are gonna zoom in a little, like this. Select a light red color somewhere here and make it more closer, like to orange, like this. Nice. Take very small, soft brush, draws like this. It doesn't have hard edges, kind of smooth. I'm gonna draw these random wavy lines like this. It's gonna help us to create this eye texture. Don't draw too many. Something like this will do perfectly. Now I'm gonna layer, duplicate this layer, okay, edit, free transform, and rotate it a bit like this, for example, like this. Okay, great. Lower the opacity, like to 50 or something, and merge down. Now this is like one layer, and I'm gonna duplicate this layer again, free transform, rotating it something like this. Great. And lowering the opacity, and I'm gonna repeat, merge down, and I'm gonna repeat this process for several times until I get the result I want. Yes, lowering the opacity, merging down, duplicating this layer, transforming it, rotating it. Like this. Nice. Nice. Now we have this kind of random texture. Add a couple lines here and there. Make it even everywhere. And we are moving to the next step. For the next step, I'm gonna put some dark color on the edges of this iris. I'm gonna select this base red color, move it a bit closer to purple, and right here, probably something like this. Let's try it out. Big soft brush. And like this, on the edges. making this kind of very soft gradient from the edges to the center. Maybe a bit even more darker color on the very edge. Yeah, makes it look more deep. Nice. For the next step, I'm gonna create a new layer. Take a white color or very close to white, red, like very pink, something like this. But let's try out just white. Make these forms all around the iris, like this. You can try to make it follow the natural lines a bit. It's gonna look more natural then. For example, you see this shape, this one, and here. And you want to make it all around the iris. And then I'm gonna make like the second row, but not everywhere, in several places like this. And also these wavy lines, like we did before, from every, I don't know how to call these things, like circles, ovals. And with the eraser, very soft and very big, I'm gonna erase some of it on the edges just to blend it out a bit better, like this. Yeah, it's perfect. For the next step, I'm creating a new layer again, and I'm taking some dark color from the edge, like this, for example. And again, with a small brush, I'm gonna make this kind of lines slash dots inside these ovals. It's gonna make them pop up and also add some details. And again, you want to make it all around the iris. And with the same dark color, you want to make some lines from the edge of the iris, some wavy lines to the center. Nice, look at that. And you can also add some dots here and there around the iris, just to make it even more interesting. For this step, I'm gonna actually do two things. First, let's create a new layer. Take black color, small brush, zoom closer, and make these lines from the center, like this, all around this black circle with some random length and thickness and placement. Don't make them very same. It's gonna look unnatural. It's gonna make the center more interesting and more realistic. The next thing is, again, I'm gonna create a new layer. Take the dark color from the edge, maybe even a bit more dark, like this one, more like blue, purple. Very big soft brush. And I'm gonna put it on top of it, just on the upper side, because this is where upper eyelid is supposed to be, so it's gonna drop some shadow to the iris. And erase if you feel like it's too much. Something like this, with and without it. Yeah, looks better. Now let's work with the overlay layer. Create a new layer, set its blending mode to overlay, There are many blending modes here, you can try them out, they all work differently. It's easier to try them out than explain what they do, because even I don't know. In this case, we're gonna need overlay. Now take a light color, like yellow for example, this one. Big soft brush and put it on the lower part of the eye. It's gonna make it look more saturated, more bright, but don't overdo. If you overdo, you can just lower the opacity of the layer, you can control it. Like this. And on the upper half, we're gonna put some, let's try this dark purpley blue color, like this, and on the edges a bit. Yeah. And in the middle, I'm gonna select the red and put it like this everywhere. Too much red. Let's put it with dots. Yeah, like this. Nice. And I'm lowering the opacity of this layer. It's like 60, 50%. 60, I guess. And with the yellow and purple, we added some more difference in color to this iris and also made the lower part pop up more and the upper part a bit more in the shadow. Nice. And this final touch, I want to add some gloss or highlights to this eye. I'm gonna select the white color, create a new layer on top of everything right here. Take a very small brush and make this little white dot right here. Maybe just give it a bit, yeah, glowy effect. Couple flares here. Create a new layer just in case. Get some small dots everywhere, like this. Filter, blue, Gaussian blur. Blur them a little. Yeah. Lower the opacity. Let's create the new layer. Draw something like this form. Like this. With the eraser, remove it from the center. Remove some here. Take a very small eraser and make it look like you can see the eyelashes from the eye. They're like reflected in the iris. Yeah. And you can actually blur everything. Yes. And lower the opacity. Yeah. Nice. Edit, free transform. Make it a bit bigger. That's fine. And you can also make some gloss which looks like this on the new layer. These things. I'm gonna erase some of it. Yeah, I think the more you add to it, the more realistic and kinda cool it's gonna look. But it's very important not to overdo it also. So you need to find the right balance. And that's actually all. Here we have our beautiful iris. It's ready to be put in the eye. Of course, you'll need to adjust this reflection from the upper eyelid, so it's better to draw it after you put it in the eye, but it was looking so cool on the iris, so I've decided to draw it anyway. And thank you so much for watching. I hope it was helpful. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!